switch gears a little bit. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Didn't have a clue.
What was your first job?
I was training to be a mechanic at W.L. Hammond's, I think. But that's after I got out of high school. We hauled bundles in the fall for a thrashing crew. Warren and I did. Missed 6 weeks of school our senior year. Went on the last thrashing run in Weevil County, I think.
Did you travel with that?
Just the neighborhood.
Were you home every night?
Yep. Had to milk them cows. And again, you didn't want to hear about it, but I squeezed it in, didn't I?
Yeah. They got in the way a lot, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Well, how'd you get that job, thrashing or stacking, whatever you said?
Was a neighbor.
Did he come looking for you?
Yes.
What did it pay?
I think $1.25 an hour. We had to furnish, Dad furnished a tractor for us, full of hay rack, and I think Warren, he furnished 2 tractors and 1 hay rack, and Adrian furnished the extra hay rack. Adrian Galston.
What's a hay rack?
That's what you haul bundles in. If I had a picture, I'd show it to you. Pretty good size.
Trailer?
It only had wooden wheels on it. That was a long time ago.
What'd you do after that?
Oh, I gotta think about that one now. When I got ready from high school, what did I do? Bought an old 35 Ford for a car for a while. Did it take a picture of that?
I'll take pictures of those in a minute. Yeah, who is that?
3 guesses and the first 2 don't count.
What are you carrying?
Lunch bucket. Must have been off to school.
Did you have fresh milk in there?
Pardon?
Did you have fresh milk in your lunch bucket?
No. Oh, we could have because it had thermos in it.
Some point I know you had a job with the seismograph.
But that's after I got out of high school too. You were previous to that. Yeah, because I seismographed for about 6 years after my... That was probably the first... Well, no, when I was in W.L. Hammond's working, training to be a mechanic. You put them cars up on the hoist in the wintertime, they'd drip cold water all over you, and I said, I ain't doing this for life, that's for sure. So I left.
And is that when you went to the seismograph?
Probably, yeah, I don't just remember for sure. When we seismographed, let's see, I seismographed, we were, the jug hustler, that's where you start out at when you're seismographing your jug hustler, you know, hooking up little the jugs they call them, was picked up the vibrations of that when we set the dynamite off in the holes.
What were you seismographing for?
Oil.
Did you find any?
Yeah, we found this stuff at Baker.
It's still in the ground.
What?
Is it still in the ground?
Yeah.
Is that the Bakken?
No. What? I don't know, because after we worked down at Baker, we went to Plentywood. She wasn't amongst us then. We went to Plentywood and found some oil up there for Amarada Petroleum, but that was out by Antelope. Then where did we go? I think where we went. We were in Roundup when we got married.
How did that seismograph work?
And they had rigs like drilling, water well drilling, and it looks like a water well driller, and they drill holes in the ground probably 150 feet deep, put in 35 pounds of powder, and drop. You always put it down the hole. That wire hooked to the cap that we screwed on it. Because I was a shooter, I was just one that did that for a while. Then I worked up to surveyor, and that's as high as I got.
Do you remember what that paid?
$300 a month.
That was big money?
What's then?
What was your boss like?
He just tell you, we met in the office every morning, and he told us what he expected us to do that day, and we went out and did it or tried to do it. Of course, the conditions you're drilling in controlled how many holes you could drill a day too, because sometimes if you were in clay, you could drill a hole in 15 minutes, but if you haven't hit gravel 15 or 20 feet down, then God knows how long it'll take you to drill a hole.
What did you learn from him?
The boss?
Yeah.
Nothing, because they didn't tell. Then when we shot off that explosion, they always, everything from then on was kind of on graph paper, and it come out of a recording truck, and they never told us anything about the recordings. We never knew nothing about what we were finding.
How did you know if you found oil?
Because they first have us drilling holes on every section corner to start with. Then we drill them down the section lines every half a mile apart. And then when we found that stuff in Baker, they had us drilling them every 1,000 feet apart. Then they crisscrossed the section right in the middle. There was holes all over the land down there when they found oil, because just went back and redid it again, only it was the holes closer together. But we had it pretty easy when we were in Plentywood because it was all gravel there under the surface, you know. And I don't know how they get those vibrations to come through that gravel, but they did. Shoot more powder.
What did you do after that?
Went to work in Napa and Glendive. And we could have stayed seismographing because they, you know, when you work your way up the ladder, they find jobs for you when we lost our last guy, we didn't really lose it. They just decided to do seismographing a different way. They do it with a big old truck now with a 1,000-pound weight on it that they drop on the ground, you know, to make the ground vibrate. And they can tell by what's under the ground and the rock structure. If you look at some of these hills when you're going down the highway, you see the rocks going up to, you see just how they're laying there. Well, they lay that way all the way under the ground, and that's what they're looking at. The vibrations tell them where those ledges are in the ground, and I suppose how deep they are and everything else.
You chose to get an office job. You chose an office job then?
Inside, yeah. I was outside. I worked inside for a year or two and then went outside selling.
Did you like that?
Kinda, yeah. A lot of hours though when you're traveling up and down the road. We went circles 50 miles away. We went there every Wednesday. Monday went to Webo Beach in Galva. It's about the same distance. Thursday went to Terry. Friday went to Savage and Ritchie.
Who were you selling to?
Service stations, garages. That's all I could sell to then because everything wasn't wholesale like it is now. You know, you go in a store now and get. I don't know what it'd be like now. I wouldn't want any part of it. You'd have to treat everybody equal, as far as I'm concerned anyway.
So did you haul parts with you, or did you just take orders?
We took orders and then delivered them the following week. Took orders again.
So you drove a yellow panel wagon.
I did.
What was that car?
Ford. It was a Ford panel.
Company car?
Nope. I was working for straight commission, no salary. No guarantee.
Did you make any money doing that?
Oh, I wouldn't say we made a lot of money. We made a living.
Did you like selling?
Yeah. I'd hate to do it now the way the competition is, though.
What was your favorite part about selling?
I don't know that there was a favorite part.
Smoking cigars?
Smoked a cigar every day, going out and one coming in.
What kind?
Swisher Sweet. Swisher Sweet.
With the tip or not?
No.
Did you inhale?
No.
Why'd you quit?
You really want to know?
Yeah.
The day we moved to Red Lodge, I was driving my van, and I turned my head to look out the window, and I had just lit up a cigar, and I practically rammed it down my throat because I thought the window was open, and I had the window open, but I always had the window open when I was smoking a cigar, and I didn't have it open then. And I practically rammed it down my throat, and I opened the window, snuffed it out, and threw it out, and never smoked one since. That was since 1970.
What year did you move to Red Lodge?
1970. That's what we were doing, moving.
69 or 70?
I think 69, but Marguerite tells me it's 70, so I don't know. Now, see, we moved to Glendive to go to work there February 11th of 1959. Worked 11 years, so it would have been 70. Would have been 70.
So how did you decide to go to Red Lodge?
Well, I just heard that store was for sale out there, and the guy that owned it would finance me, so we went up and looked at it. Asked for a day off in Glendive, and he says, I asked for a day off with a weekend. He says, what are you going to do, Bob? And I said, I'm going hunting. It was during hunting season, too.
What was their name?
Samuelson. Vernon George Samuelson.
So how long did it take you? Tell me that story. From the time to decide to go look at it, to buy it, what were you thinking?
I don't even remember. It took 3 or 4 months.
What took so long about that?
Do I have the guts to do it, or do I not have the guts to do it?
Did you have to finance it?
Yeah. We had to come up with $10,000 for a down payment. Well, you couldn't even hardly walk in the door for $10,000 to look at one, you know.
How much inventory was in that store when you bought it?
$28,000.
That doesn't seem like much now, does it?
No, but you stop and think about what a set of car points or points and condenser was worth then. You could buy them for, you could buy a set of points for a car for 75 cents, and now they're $6.85, $6.95.
So how much did they finance it in 1970? I'm going to pull a calculator up here.
What the interest did they charge?
And how much did you have to borrow to get into the whole thing?
Well, at the time we sold our house and we lost money on that because we had to sell it and get out. We didn't want to rent it. That was a good choice too now looking back. We borrowed $1,000 from Grandpa, and we had a retirement plan going with the carburetor electric, so we checked that out. And I can't really remember how much. That's about all we borrowed out of the $10,000, I think. We borrowed $1,000 from Grandpa in May and paid him back in August of the same year. And
$10,000 in 1970 would cost $55,000 today. Would be the same value.
yeah, and since the stock market dropped, it'd be less than, it'd be more. If I hadn't have dropped, it'd be more than that. But it dropped about 40% when I had the big drop.
I don't know the number, but it was a big one. So how did we move to Red Lodge?
Mayflower moved us. We hired Mayflower to move it.
And we're in what house did we move from?
The one you remember, the house on Douglas, don't you, right down the street from the store?
The one I remember had a big back bedroom with bunk beds in it.
Yep.
How many bunk beds were in that room?
Oh, I don't know, probably yours and Anthony's and who's the next one? Pat. I don't know which room the girls were in. That was a big 3-bedroom house when we moved to the apartment. Do you remember the apartment?
Yes, sir. Do you?
Yes, I do.
What was the hardest part about being in business for yourself?
The hardest part's the collection of money that people don't want to pay. That's the part that ruins being in business, unless you go all cash. Then you're not going to have business because there's competition's going to want to charge. Then competition comes out with their charge, you know.
You remember the most you had to write off for somebody?
Yeah, I do. When we sold Red Lodge, financed it, thought we were going to get rich financing it. That didn't work either because the guy filed bankruptcy on me for $20,000.
How much of that finance did you carry for him?
20?
Oh yeah, probably. I think it was around 40. He got half paid off and then gave up.
Why did you sell one?
Because I had surgery for cancer and they didn't think I was able enough to run it, 2 of them. And I was driving back and forth from Red Lodge to Bridger every day, and there was nights when I went through Bridger or Bear Creek home, I never remembered going through it.